Hey everyone, Emily here and welcome to my kitchen. It's that time of the year where pumpkin spice is everywhere, so it's the perfect time to make some pumpkin bread. I'm going to be taking one of my favorite pumpkin bread recipes and turning it into muffins. This comes out fantastic every single time. They're super moist and really easy to throw together. Let's get started. For this recipe, we're going to mix together our dry and our wet ingredients separately, and we're going to start with our larger bowl where we're going to combine all of our wet ingredients. So we're going to start off by cracking in 2 eggs. I always like to crack these into a separate bowl. That way, if you have a little piece of shell that gets in or if the egg is bad, you can just toss it and it doesn't ruin whatever you have going in your bowl. Those 2 are just fine. To that, I'll add 1 teaspoon of vanilla. I always just eyeball it. A 1/2 cup of oil and a 1/4 cup of water. I'm just using regular vegetable oil. And then our last wet ingredient is 1 15-ounce can of pumpkin. Make sure you're using 100% pumpkin and not pumpkin pie filling. Whisk this together really well to combine it, and then we'll be ready for our dry ingredients. We'll be adding our dry ingredients into our wet ingredients, so we can use our smaller bowl for this. We'll start off with 1 3/4 cup of flour. As you're measuring your flour, make sure you're scooping this from the bag with a spoon into your measuring cup. Don't dip your measuring cup directly into the bag. That can add a little too much flour by compressing it, and you might wind up with really tough baked goods if you add too much flour. Once you have a nice little mound on top, just level it off right back into the bag. And you have a perfect level cup of flour. To this, we'll add in 1 cup of white sugar, and a 1/2 cup of packed brown sugar. Now we'll add 1 teaspoon of baking soda, a 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder, a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and then we'll add in our pumpkin pie spice. I'm not a huge fan of nutmeg, so when I make this, I leave it out, but if you'd like to add it, you would want to add a 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg. I'll start off with 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, a 1/2 teaspoon of ground cloves, and a 1/2 teaspoon of ginger. Give this a mix to combine, and we'll be ready to add it into our wet ingredients. We'll add this in batches to our bowl of wet ingredients, so I'll add in about 1/3 of my dry ingredients here. Whisk that until it's combined. And then continue to gradually add the dry ingredients until you have it all incorporated. Once it's just incorporated, stop mixing. You don't want to over mix it or it can wind up a little bit tough. Now we're ready to put this into either a loaf pan or our muffin tins. If you're doing a loaf pan, this will go in 1 regular size loaf pan or make 4 mini loaves. You want to preheat your oven to 350 degrees at this point. I'm going to get out my muffin tins and get that prepped for my muffins. This is a non-stick muffin tray, so that's going to help things out, but to keep everything from sticking without using liners, I'm going to brush each muffin tin with a little bit of oil, and then I'm going to flour them. And these are going to come out so easily. Once you have a little bit of oil coating each muffin tin, just add in a little bit of flour. Then you'll lightly tap the muffin tins to distribute the flour over each one. I'm gonna do this over the sink because it does tend to get a little bit messy, and then you can dump the excess right out into the sink. These are all set and ready to go, so I'm going to scoop my batter right in. If you'd rather use cupcake liners, you can do that as well. I'll scoop in a 1/4 cup into each one. I have my muffin tins all filled up and ready to go. This will make 18 muffins. I'm going to pop this into a 350-degree oven for 20 to 30 minutes. I'll check on it after 20. Once you can insert a toothpick and it comes out clean, you know that they're done. If you're doing a loaf, you'll bake this for an hour. And if you're doing mini loaves, those are gonna take about 30 to 45 minutes. These just came out of the oven and they smell amazing. I'll give them a few minutes to cool before we pop them out of their pans. These have had a few minutes to cool off and they're going to come out of their trays so easily. All you have to do is flip them over and there they are. These look so nice and you can already tell they're gonna be so moist and soft. Let's give one of these a try. You can see just how nice these turned out. Beautiful. And let's give it a taste. It came out so good. These pumpkin bread muffins came out perfect, and they do every single time. It's a super easy recipe and very hard to screw up. You can make it easily into a pumpkin loaf or into mini loaves. All you have to do is adjust your baking time, and I think you're gonna really enjoy these. Hope you give it a try. Thanks so much for watching. If you liked this video, don't forget to hit subscribe and the bell icon so you can get notified every time I post. As always, you can find the full recipe to this in the description box down below. If you give it a try, let me know how you like it in the comments or leave a suggestion for the next recipe that I should do. Hope to see you back here next time.